The language was undeniably strong.
The governments of Iran and North Korea have chosen to acquire weapons to threaten their neighbors. The world must see to it that what they spend on these weapons will not be the only cost that they incur.
While the wording was harsh, it could have been worse. Russia, which has relations with both countries, stepped in and asked other G8 members to dial down the rhetoric. The final G8 communique, released by the leaders of the world's wealthiest nations, was a large document which covered everything from climate change to international development. In it, Israel's blockade of Gaza was criticized. The leaders described it as unsustainable and something that must be changed. And Afghanistan was given 5 years to root out corruption and assume more responsibility for its own security.
We are convinced that we have the right strategy to provide the time and the space for the Afghan government to build up capacity over the next several months and years.
When it came to aid, the heads of state also admitted to failures of the G8 in delivering past promises, notably to Africa, and at this present summit for not promising very much at all.
My observation has been that leaders have actually been very, very cautious in terms of the pledges they have made.
An observation that has not gone unnoticed by some aid agencies.
We received the G8 communique in a disappointed manner, in the sense that it hasn't captured the gleanings and reaffirmed the commitments, the previous commitments.
Looking forward to the G20 summit in Toronto, which for the first time is being held back-to-back with the G8, the communique noted the global economy was at an important crossroads, but refrained from issuing any broad statements about the recovery. That will be left up to the leaders this weekend. But even before the talks formally started, the future of what the summit might achieve wasn't looking good. German Chancellor Angela Merkel said there was no immediate consensus on whether banks should face a levy or tax which would be used to bail them out in case of another recession, or if the so-called Robin Hood tax, a tiny fee on financial transactions which would create a fund for aid and development, will be pursued. What also divides the G20 leaders is how to deal with ballooning deficits and the world's fragile economy. The US, China, and India believe countries need to spend their way out of the economic downturn. But Britain, Germany, and other European countries believe they need to cut their deficits in order to survive. Two drastically different approaches for the very same problem. Imtiaz Tyab, Al Jazeera, Toronto.